Hello and welcome back. This is Unit 1, Lesson 3, Part 2 of the presentation on continents and countries of our world. Let's continue with Africa. Africa is a gigantic continent located, by most map projections, in the center of the world. Let's talk more about this continent. Africa is the second largest continent that covers 1/3 of the Earth's land surface. Here are some of the many African flags that exist from all the sovereign nations. It should be noted here that when people commonly connotate Africa, they often might think of just one country or one people. But on the contrary, Africa is unique and diverse, if not more, than most of the other continents and places mentioned in previous parts of the presentation. In Africa, you have the Sahara Desert, which covers 1/4 of the continent. The Sahara is huge. And with desertification being a geographic phenomenon, studies show that the Sahara Desert is actually spreading. You might be familiar with some of these other geographic features like Mount Kilimanjaro, the Nile River Valley, and Lake Victoria. Let's go ahead and talk about Australia. Little is often known from students every year in World Cultures about what Australia is really like. They know some of the cultural items and references, but not so much about the geography. Australia is the smallest of the 7 continents in the world. As you can see here by this map, the landforms are unique and diverse as its people. Australia is both a continent and its own country. Its climate varies from tropical in the north to temperate in the south. As you can see here yet again, with many mountain ranges, hills and valleys, plateaus and tablelands, plains and dunelands, Australia is incredibly diverse. Also in Australia, so too are the climate zones. In the Australian outback, of course, you might have heard of that before. We're talking about regions where vegetation is found because most of the areas are covered by deserts or semi-deserts. Many people may not know, but Australia's climate is so diverse because of the different geographical landforms and, of course, the different types of temperatures that are felt, which have an impact on the environmental biology. In Australia, there's also a feature called the Great Dividing Range, which is a long mountain chain that runs from north to south along the eastern coast of the continent. Right off the coast of Australia and right below Asia, you have Oceania. I feel like it's really important to talk about this particular region of the world just really quickly. Oceania is comprised of 3 island groups. You have Micronesia, Melanesia, Polynesia, and several other smaller islands too that combine to form the unique identity of this particular place. There are so many countries in Oceania that sometimes leave students surprised. You might have heard of the following few countries like Palau, to Tonga, to Taiga, and to Samoa. Now let's go ahead and talk about Antarctica. Antarctica is located around the South Pole. It's larger than Europe or Australia. It should be noted that it's the 5th largest continent in the world too. There's no permanent population in Antarctica as we speak right now. So technically speaking, this makes Antarctica a desert. In Antarctica, you might be familiar with the following animals. There's polar bears, and of course, there are several other unique animals that are exclusive to Antarctica because they have been primed to live in such an environment. In the Antarctic desert, we're talking about the world's largest desert in the world. There's no human sustainable population, thus earning the name desert. It should be noted here before we conclude our presentation that although the continents and countries of the world are unique and diverse, many students can find similar themes of history and culture that unite instead of divide. When you look at world cultures as a whole, you'll find some of these features to be evident as well. I hope you enjoyed this part of the presentation. Now please go ahead and complete the rest of the lesson accordingly. If you have any questions, once again, please reach out for help and clarity. Thank you.